Hi, this is Suzanne Wachtel, and it is November 2024, and I've decided that it's really important to jump in here and make a podcast for anyone struggling right now with the stress and the chaos and the anxiety and worry and confusion and fear about the world today that we're living in. I'm going to call this podcast Tools to Stay Calm During Chaotic Times. I feel like many people have gotten so invested in what's going on in the world and have taken on such a burden of negative energy, of worry, of chaos, of fear, of trauma. And the only way we're going to get through this is to really learn the tools of how to self-preserve, take care of self, and really almost detach in a healthy way from what's going on in the rest of the world. Detaching is not always a bad thing. Detaching can be very healthy if necessary. In fact, the brain sometimes will automatically and naturally kind of disassociate and detach when there's overwhelming trauma going on. In a war, people detach because it's too frightening to feel the anxiety of possibly being harmed at any moment. During a hurricane, during a fire, during anything that is life-altering can be very traumatic. And so the brain wants to feel safe and comfortable, and therefore it will kind of disassociate, become a little numb, and detach. Now, at a time in our life when there is a lot going on, there's wars being talked about, there's financial issues going on in the world, there's all sorts of political issues, fighting, people being contrary, oppositional, and we need to make it our responsibility to remain calm, to not let ourselves get ill because of what's happening in the world that we cannot control. In my opinion, when you cannot control something yourself, when you cannot change it, when you cannot do anything about it, the only thing you can do is to take care of yourself and to let go and to not take on angst that you can't change. So the goal would be to do some deep breathing, take care of yourself, go for a walk, take care of your family, be responsibly kind, be generous, be helpful to other people, and be the person that you would like the rest of the world to be. Meaning if you would like people to treat you kindly and be understanding and be generous and thoughtful, well, then make it your responsibility to do those things for yourself and the other people that you care about that are in your world. That is really it. In fact, Mel Robbins, who I do follow also, she just wrote a book called Let Them. And what I loved about that theory of hers is let them means the same thing. She draws a circle with all the things she can't control, from politics, from empowerment, from financial affairs, war, etc. Let them. We can't fix it. And then she has a circle that says, let me. And she reiterates what I'm saying, that let me means you can control how you show up in the world. You can control your behavior. You can control your thinking. You can stop watching the news. The news is a terrible tool because yes, it does inform you. And if that's what you need to be informed, there are programs such as Lester Holt that report the news in the world. And then there are other medias that promote fear and anger and conflict and just go on and repeat. So what I learned, I was in New York during 9/11, and I happened to be in graduate school at the time, and we were taking a course on the brain and how the brain functions. And one of the things we learned in that class 20 years ago was that when there's a trauma like that, do not continue to watch it repetitively on the television, because once you saw the planes fly into the building and you saw them burst into fire and crumble, once was really enough for the brain. To continue watching it again and again and again only re-traumatizes the brain and the nervous system every time, leading to depression, anxiety, trauma, and fear. So watching the news on a repetitive basis is very toxic, very dangerous, and very damaging. Being informed is one thing. Being overstimulated with negative events is another. So you can control how much you expose yourself and your family to this news. The other thing is to do some breathing. Often when we're upset, we don't breathe deeply. We shallow breathe because we're nervous. We're almost in fight and flight most of the time. And fight and flight is a physical reaction in our body when we are upset or stressed, where we breathe more shallow, where our heart is beating more rapidly, where often we have anxiety because it's a trigger to get you out of danger. So if there's a wolf chasing you, your fight and flight would kick in. You would automatically get a shot of adrenaline, be able to run faster, your heart would beat faster, you would breathe more shallowly to save you in a crisis like that. But to put yourself in a state of fight and flight too often and constantly not only is unhealthy, but it's not good for your heart, for your nervous system, and your health. So, what we need to do is to develop a practice for ourselves where we take a walk in nature, we take a yoga class, we listen to gentle music, we surround ourselves with people that are more positive than negative, we avoid conflict, we minimize our exposure to toxic news and traumatic events. We try to create for ourselves a life that we can, with people that we love, taking care of our family, eating lovely food. We can do this. We can make something nice to eat. We can go out to eat. We can be around friends that bring us comfort and pleasure. And we can try to avoid the people that we know in our lives that are triggering. So, in this time of angst, in this time of uncertainty, in this time where we don't know what's going to happen in the world, we need to really create for each and every one of us our own little pocket of peace. Putting yourself in a bubble that you can see through, perhaps coated in Teflon, it's all visualization. And just looking out at the world without taking it into your cells. I have a friend who I spoke to the other night, and I innocently called to say hello. And it was right after the election. And she was determined to be angry, upset, scared, repetitive, boasting that her and her family are convicted to watching the news all day long, and that the world basically in her mind was coming to an end, and that it's a terrible thing. And my words to her were, we can't control these things. We have to learn acceptance. We have to think positively that things will work out. And maybe there are things that will be different and change, not to our liking, but maybe there will be things that will be better. Who knows? We don't know. So to make yourself so ill and agitated over something that we don't even know yet is really like worrying in advance. I don't believe in worrying in advance, because when things happen, it's time to take action, not worry. Worry has been proven scientifically that it does nothing except make you depressed, anxious, and sad and uncomfortable. So she was not happy with my advice. She wanted me to be as upset as she was, and I choose not to be. I choose to have peace in my life. I choose to self-care. I choose to look out at the beautiful breeze blowing the leaves. I choose to feed the squirrel that comes down to say hello in the morning. I choose to hug my little grandchild. I choose to eat lovely food. I choose to surround myself with love and friendship and kindness. And I choose to be the person that I would love everybody else to be. Because at the end of the day, my thoughts and my behavior are my responsibility. I am going to also say, let them be upset if they want to be. Let them be angry. Let them get all sick over this, over the world affairs, over what's going on, over the hatred in the world. I can't control that, but I can control what I think, what I feel, and how I show up to be for other people, hopefully to bring a little sunshine into their life, to smile, to be joyful, and to hope that maybe my little bit of sunshine will land on them as well. So thank you for listening today, and I'm sorry if any of you have been triggered and really dysregulated by the chaotic times. And they certainly are chaotic, and they certainly are anxiety provoking. But that means that we have to work even harder to stay calm, to stay uplifted, and to stay positive. I do practice Kundalini, which is a type of yoga practice that clears energy. There's breath work involved, there's chanting involved. And when you leave a session of Kundalini, spelled with a K, Kundalini, you feel cleared and you feel much more relaxed and peaceful. So I am going to have a podcast with my guru, my Kundalini teacher, to explain to you what Kundalini is and to help you understand how that also is a wonderful tool, as well as yoga, meditation, walking, anything to do with nature and purity is a tool to help you enjoy your life in spite of the things you cannot control that are going on around you in the world. So please have a peaceful, beautiful, joyful, happy day during these chaotic times, because you deserve it. And let's think peaceful, let's think happy, let's think calm, let's think that we have the power to be okay in these challenging times. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.